Hi, I recently watched the 1970s adaptation of The Food of the Gods, the H.G. Wells story about a strange substance that causes gigantism. The original novel is more about the conflict that arises in society between those who consume the food and become gigantic, and the little people left behind, like you and me, presumably. This version, however, is a cheap, sleazy cash in. Um, it's about an island in Puget Sound, I think, off the coast of Washington State, where this stuff is bubbling up out of the ground, where people are using it to feed to their local animals, resulting in giant chickens. But also, local rats have been eating it, and now the rats are going around and eating all the people. And people get stuck in a house, and there are rats trying to chew their way in. And there's not enough giant chickens in this movie. I felt that the absence of significant scenes with too many giant chickens was a real flaw. But it's very silly and cheesy in not in a fun way, and really just absurd and over the top. And although some of the visual effects sequences are quite cleverly done with split diopter elements and some matting to incorporate the rats and their um, model based chaos with live action actors, it all feels a bit silly and reducing um, the complexity and the satire of Wells's work to something so pathetic is rather embarrassing. I mean, there have been rather low grade versions of H.G. Wells stories in the past. I mean, both the film versions of the Time Machine aren't particularly good, but they are moderately respectable in their aims. This is just cheap drive-in crap, and as a result, it's really not very good. And the fairly ludicrous and overly ominous twist ending, where some of the food gets into the water supply, which is then drunk by the cows, and the milk from the cows is now being drunk by children, and there's a crash freeze frame on a child drinking its milk. It's so absurd and portentous. It's very hard to take seriously, and as a result, it's really not very good at all.